Go, gentlemen. Good afternoon, boys and girls. Welcome to another episode of the Witching Hour podcast. I'm your host, as always, John Roycelyn. With me together today, finally together, returning Mr. PJ Starks and for the first time that PJ is allowing his face to be seen on my show, partner in crime, Mr. Eric. I pronounce this correctly. I apologize. Huskisson.
It's Huskisson.
There you go, perfect. Or Derek Huskisson, if you want to just go there.
How you doing? Thanks for having me.
You're more than welcome. Thank you for taking the time. I know how busy you guys are, especially right now. All right. So no wasting any time. New Fear's Eve. We're going to jump right into it. This is another Blood Moon Productions, obviously, but for those who cannot read behind you, the beautiful banner in the backdrop there. Ta-da, there we go. You guys have been banging movies out one after another for a couple of years now. I have seen the trailer for the new film. It looks phenomenal. I will admit, every show gets better and better. The quality, the production, the score even in a trailer was amazing. That was one thing, honestly, that really caught me. I was like, wow, that music is not quirky. It's not corny. It's really good. So,
well, it helps when you license music from people who are very talented.
So give everybody a quick rundown on the film, because I remember last time we talked, this was kind of a small thing in the back of your brain that you were working on as you're finishing product. I know you already have, with New Fear's Eve, PJ, I already know you've got the next project in the back of your mind. The gears are going. I know that about you. So give everybody a quick rundown, New Fear's Eve, and just tell everybody what it's about, the basis, and when we can expect this.
I always do it. Do you want to do it this time?
Well, you wrote it, so I'll let you take off.
He's always passing the buck.
No, I mean,
so it's the long and the short of it. It's about three co-workers. They all work for Hooper Industries. It's very ambiguous as to what they do and what they manufacture, but it's the events leading up to these three friends who all end up having to go to this mandatory New Year's Eve party. Of course, all the employees have to go. None of them want to be there. Unbeknownst to the three, there is a serial killer who is stalking each one of them, and he ends up following them to the party, and then of course everyone gets trapped inside, and then it's just a bloodbath from there. So that's the long and the short of the synopsis.
Okay, all right. Well, it sounds fun, and this is a comedy horror. Mm-hmm. Now you've got, in my opinion, three heavy hitters that you've got for the film. David Sheridan, as everybody knows, as Doofy, who it actually did take me a second during the trailer to take kind of a double glance and look at the face. I'm like, holy shit, that's Doofy, all cleaned up, looking nice and sharp. Lovely Felissa Rose, and one of my personal favorites, Hannah Fierman, from small parts, but what basically caught my eye with her, obviously, was from her segment from VHS. One of my favorites, and I think she's a very underrated actress. So I was thrilled to see her in credits for you. So, production-wise, where do we stand with everything?
Well, we're knee deep in post-production. This is where PJ is like, wants me to leave him alone. He's heavy into the editing part of it. I am going through all the finances and trying to break down what we spent, wardrobe, special effects, figuring out where we are money-wise. I'm doing that while he's doing the editing. We have the other Indiegogo that just started this past, I guess Friday, wasn't it? Was it
Wednesday?
Wednesday, that's right. Mm-hmm. I think I'm past the weekend already. That's good. We had the new Indiegogo to start up. We talk about, we secured a composer for the score.
Well, that doesn't get that.
Yeah,
that doesn't,
I said I didn't. I'm not saying his name. We have.
When does this drop?
When do you want it to drop?
Well, okay, so real quick, we haven't announced. We have a composer. Yeah, I was going to say we have a composer who signed on, but we haven't announced.
Okay.
And we're not doing it until like Tuesday of next week.
Ah.
So, yeah.
Okay. All
So
right,
it's kind
fair
of
enough.
top secret right now, but it's a big name. I'll say this: he's an Academy Award-winning composer. Yeah.
Ooh,
That we
wow.
basically in the last probably 2 weeks just secured him, got the contract signed.
Mhm.
So that's going on post. And just trying to get through all of that, get his editing to see where it's at. There's so many video files and music files. He's about to pull his hair out already.
Yeah, right. You can't see it. Right on the other side of this banner is the whole editing setup, and I haven't begun to edit the film
Mhm.
because there's so many audio files that I have to go through. Because of course we had the boom, and then we had all the actors had wireless lavalier mics, so of course we have all those. So there's like 400 some odd audio files, and
Oh my
what doesn't
God.
help is that most of the time we wouldn't stop recording.
Mhm.
It's every time we took a break or we did another setup during shooting, they would just continue to run.
Right.
And there's like 3 hour audio files in there that I have to sit and just meticulously sit through until I get to the takes to make sure that I don't miss anything. So yeah, it's that part's tedious, but once I get all that organized and I get to the actual editing part, I'll breeze right through that. Just to give you a good idea, the trailer that you saw was one that we originally it was put together in May,
Okay.
and it was meant to be like a sales trailer that was going to go out to investors who are potentially interested in the project.
Mhm.
So I took a weekend and I was just going to throw together a real quick teaser trailer. And then once I sat down and started putting it together, because anytime I edit a trailer, I always have like a finished film to work with, but I didn't. So this is the first time I did anything with just straight raw files. But after about 16 hours, that's what you saw is what I ended up putting together. So from beginning to end, and I didn't think I was going to be able to put together like a full trailer together, but thankfully it worked out and we were able to
Beautifully.
use it. Thank you.
No,
But
beautifully.
yeah, so now I'm going through all the audio files and then I'll start putting the actual film. So probably by the middle to end of August, we'll have a full cut of the movie, not scored, not sound mixed or color graded, but just
Mhm.
an actual cut from beginning to end of the film.
Well, I guess all those extras will make for a nice little special limited edition with the second disc with all the all the outtakes and people walking around
Right.
talking badly about everybody. Then when everybody thought the film had been cut. But no, that's awesome.
Believe it or not, there's quite a bit of audio of people going to the bathroom.
You seem to
So
have had a huge production on this. I'm
yeah.
watching your social media, and this looked like a much larger scale production than any of your other films that you guys have put together.
Yeah, this is also a single narrative. All the other ones we've done before have all been anthologies. So this is the first
Right,
one
right.
we've done like that.
And
Just to
so,
throw out, there's also a video going to be on maybe on that other disc that I'm looking forward to that people might enjoy. Where PJ and I went out on an excursion for a product we needed for the movie, and so I suggested that we have somebody follow us and video the whole thing, and I think that's going to be funny,
Interesting.
interesting. There's that word, interesting.
Right. Interesting. We'll
Right.
probably be canceled by the time that it's over with, but those things happen.
Oh man, so you two have been partners in crime for what, 10 years? 10 years now?
Yeah. The company's only been around to be 8 years in December, but we've been working together since 2013. I couldn't give you the month, but
I couldn't either.
yeah, it was the zombie run thing we did for you did for WBKR. It was the first thing we worked together, but we've been working together pretty solid since then.
Yeah.
So Eric, you primarily, excuse me, in the past, you have primarily been more of in producing. Is that correct?
Right. I do a lot of the business side where he does a
Mhm.
lot of the more creative side. Now gone more or less
You
where it
kind of
was maybe 50-50, and I'm doing a little bit more of the creative. I did write one of the segments in 13 Sleighs, did
mhm.
my first directing in 13 Sleighs. Um, there's a lot of misconception out there with some of this. I did not direct this film. I
Okay.
originally was going to direct this film. Um, PJ and I's conversations were, no, it can go this way. And I'm like, no, it's not going to go that way. And we ended up co-directing it.
I didn't want to direct.
Right.
That's what it was. I honestly, I didn't want to direct because
Last
I
time
wrote
we
it.
talked, you would heavily lean towards that. You had mentioned a lot of not wanting to direct in the future.
Right, and I didn't want to because I wrote it and I'm producing it,
Mhm.
and then I knew I was going to end up editing, and I knew I had when you write something, you have a lot of ideas in your head for visual style and stuff.
Sure,
So
sure.
I worked very closely with Alex,
Mhm.
who was our director of photography, Alex Clark. So he and I worked real close with a lot of the shots and stuff. So I knew I was going to be doing that as well. So I really, really did not want to direct. So I asked him, I'm like, hey, well, I don't know if it was really asking as much as I was like, hey, you should direct this. And that was the direction we were trying to go. He
Mhm.
was like, that's not going to happen because you have all these ideas in your head, and this, that, and the other.
You know exactly how you want it shot. You know how
Yeah.
and then all this kind of stuff. And I said, you're going to walk away. I'm going to direct 7. You're going to come back and look at it and go, no, I want to do it this way. So basically, I would say the best way is I directed a lot of the acting. He directed a lot of the actions, special effects, and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
So if the acting is good, it's all my doing. If the acting is bad, it's his fault.
Anything that I do that usually does, and then he's gonna say, "Oh, he's playing the victim again. How big surprise!" I never can win with this man.
So it's a partnership until something goes bad. Then it was, well, that was your child over there.
Yeah, but it's always you point. So you pointed towards me. See, that's exactly what
If it's going well, it's like 51% is over here. If it's
Right.
going poorly, about 60% is over there.
It's that guy. Yeah.
Back to your original question that with what I do, I mean, when we did 13 Slaves and it did so well, he had come to me as he always does. I mean, I have ideas too. I throw at him, but he throws out more to me than I do to him. And he had brought up New Year's Eve, and I'm like, dude, can we just please get through this film before you start throwing new ideas? Well, when 13 Slaves did so well, and we started talking about doing the film, I was like, dude, we're going to have to go back. I'm sorry, you're going to have to go back and do your New Year's Eve, go to that next holiday since 13 Slaves did so well. And I mean, I'm glad we did because it's being well received already.
It was a great film, by the way. Yes.
And he wrote it, but I do read it. I do give approvals, and there are some nuances of me in the film where I'm like, well, maybe you should say this here, or maybe this should be more action than just voices. We're talking.
Mhm.
So I mean, there are nuances of me in it, but it's all his story. But I am still part of the creative, but not as high percentage that he is. Hopefully, that's gonna go more 50-50 both ways one day.
And how are you perceived in that with your creative side, bringing that coming out from behind the desk, let's say? Are you
Am I received by him?
Yeah, by him or creatively by the staff, and even or even by yourself. Are you happy with how when you take a center stage, you say, all right, this is how I'm going to run things. When you're up there
I'm
with
getting
him
more
directing.
comfortable with that. I'm getting more comfortable with that, working next to him and watching him. And then when he does it, and then compared to what I'm doing, people gravitate towards him.
Right.
So sometimes it's hard on me with that because I guess a self-esteem issue possibly might be in there. But I'm also new to a lot of this stuff, and I'm watching and learning, and I'm glad I'm doing little bits and pieces along the way. I mean, there have some of the directing that I did do in this. I'm like, well, we need to add this in there. We need to change out this term. So I did do directing, but not at the caliber of me doing a whole film.
Right.
I've got a long way before I will call myself a director, and that's not being a self-esteem. I'm not comfortable enough to say I'm a director, and I'm just not.
Sure. No, I can appreciate that.
I'm getting a lot better with writing on the creativity side, and I can shut up. I can take some. we do have differences of my stories compared to his story.
Sure.
But I mean, he is well receptive with me when he hands me something. I'm like, dude, I really like this, but I really think this needs to be said this here. I think you need to change this around to this. And he's been receptive. If he doesn't like it, he tells me. But there's been a few things that I think are going to go over really well that I took his idea and I changed it a little bit to make it that much funnier, that much more of a punch right there. But we work well together like that. I mean, we do. I mean, if we're not joking and doing stuff, we're just not talking to each other.
We're pretty laid back on set, and like for me, collaboration, that's my favorite part of the whole process. Working with other people. I mean, there are times when I have a very specific idea as to how I would like to see something done, but 9 times out of 10, and this goes for both of us, anytime we're working with someone, whether it's an actor or somebody behind the camera, whatever, we always, anytime we have like a meeting with the cast and crew, we always tell them, we're like, look, you all are creative entities too. I mean, yeah, this is a Blood Moon Pictures production, but anytime you have an idea, a suggestion, an idea for a line, whatever it is, come to us, or if we're right there on set, say, hey, what if we did this? And if there's time, we'll give it a shot. If we don't think it'll work, we'll explain to you why we wouldn't do it. But we always try to take people's feedback and input and put it towards the project, because that's the one thing. It's like, of course, there's what's on the script. And it's like, you want to think, hey, this is a good idea. But then sometimes someone on set, someone will say, well, what about this? And it's a better idea than what's there originally.
Right.
And you would be stupid not to take that idea, because at the end of the day, it's just making the movie better.
Right.
And there's a, we added this additional little opening credit sequence. And it was an opportunity for us to kind of open the door for anybody who's in Owensboro to come be extras. It was another way we had all these like Hooper Industries polos. So we thought, hey, this is a way for us to kind of populate the office to make it actually look like it's a running, functioning office. And it helped add a little bit of time on there to where we could do some opening credits and things. But anyway, so there's this one, we added this extra little scene, and I'm not going to say what the lines were, but the original idea of what the line was not great. So we started going, well, hey, what should the line be here, and what should the line be here? So everybody was just kind of throwing their, and at one point I came up with a line, but I didn't want to tell anybody, so I ran over. It was Ryan McCain. He was like our main grip but he also played this little cameo role. And I ran over to him, I whispered in his ear, I'm like, say this. And then I come back and he says it, and then everybody dies laughing. And then Eric's like, okay, well, we have to have another line in there, because while that was funny, it's a bit extreme for probably a lot of people's delicate sensibilities out there. So if we have to have an alternate take just in case, like if whoever distributes the film comes to us and goes, this is funny, but there's no way we can have him say this line.
Right.
The whole canceled thing.
Yeah, I'm the worrier. I'm the one that's always like, if something's like, we need to make sure this is here, we got to back this up just in case.
Yeah.
So I was the other worried about that.
The other thing though is that like I got increasingly frustrated, because at that point, like he threw that out there as a suggestion. Okay, well now we need an alternate take. And everybody started trying to throw lines out that were, and I'm not trying to say I'm the most hilarious person in the world, but everybody was trying to throw a line out that was equally as funny, but a bit safer than what I had him say.
Right.
And nothing that was thrown out there was as funny. And finally it got to, can we cuss on?
Oh,
on
fuck no.
Okay. It went on for like 5 minutes, and I was like, you know what? Let's just move on. Let's move on. We don't need another take. I mean, it's a horror comedy, and if somebody gets offended, fuck them. Who cares? It's not that big a deal. It's a hilarious line, and it's comedy, and people should have a sense of humor.
Thank you.
Fucking stupid.
Yep.
And I was like, it's like one of the few times on set where I like legitimately got frustrated and was like, who cares? Who cares? If somebody gets offended, let's just move on. We got other things we have to do. Not that I don't care about other people's.
No, of course
you know,
not.
their
You know,
feelings.
and that's a huge issue nowadays. Is, you know, censorship back in the days was, all right, you know, somebody flashed a boob, or you can't say the shit word on TV or something like that.
Right, right.
Nowadays, it's a whole nother. It's not even censorship. It's offending people.
Well,
Are
the,
you?
the problem, the problem with that, and this is the only thing I really say, but the problem with that is that people feel like their personal offense you need to cater to that. And
Yes.
the issue with everyone believing their own personal offenses need to be catered to is everybody's offended by different things.
Sure.
But someone like me, I mean, sure, I get offended by stuff. I've lost 2 kids. You know, I've been divorced. My mom is currently going through cancer, and it's not looking good. Okay, so but here's the thing: I can sit around and complain about it and be offended by everything, or I can realize that these things are just a part of life, and that jokes are jokes, and they're not there to hurt your feelings. But if your feelings get hurt, move on.
Right.
Move on. I was the fat kid in school. I got bullied. Do you know what that did? That helped me build character. I'm not advocating bullying, but what I'm saying is that if someone's bullying you, use that to build character. Don't expect the world to change because you have an issue.
Yeah, because you didn't change. Look at you.
Right.
But anyway,
I just got fatter and sadder.
He is reaching into that Twinkie drawer in his desk the minute he gets up from this interview.
Oh, when I reach for the Twinkie, you'll know about it.
Oh man, no, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, I keep waiting for someone to.
There's going to be comedy in this movie that touches that line. I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
There's,
well, you know, I mean, on that same line. I mean, not even being offended. I mean, just movies in general. I don't care what genre they are. I mean, you look at Forrest Gump. I think it's a great movie from beginning to finish. But there's people out there that don't like it. I know people got on board, but I think it's stupid. Blah 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 blah. And that goes with any film that he and I make, whether it's comedy, drama, whatever we're going to do. There's going to be a group of people out there that are going to have their say so in it. My one segment, I had a bunch of people that didn't like my segment and got on there, and I didn't go say anything to them. It was their opinion. It was their opinion. So, but I mean, you're never going to completely 100%. So you can't go at this creatively doing that. I was just saying, just in case on this one line, maybe we should have an alternative in case they do come back and go, oh, we have something we can just put in there real quick. That's all I was doing. I didn't care. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because to me, it's comedy. It's entertainment. Everybody's entertainment level is different. And not everybody's always going to like our films. There's going to be that percentage don't. But we can't stop doing it because of that.
And the best comedy always comes from a broken place. Safe comedy sucks.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
Sucks. I'm sorry.
Right. No, I mean, that's the reason why I have not yet to have watched, was it History of the World Part 2? Came out, 2-3 months ago. I won't touch it because I know how much the original pushed so many buttons and exploited so many different races and sexes and stuff like that. I won't even touch the new one. Why?
I'm a big Mel Brooks fan. He's top guy out there, and I want to watch it because I'm such a fan, and I know this could very well be his last thing he does because he's up there.
Yes,
but because of somebody that was involved, I was a little worried about that. Then when I saw it, I wondered how it was going to go. I still will probably watch it because I'm a Mel Brooks fan, but. You know, and I have heard this from several people going back to what you just said, that, you know, Blazing Saddles will never get remade.
Oh, my God, I know. Well, I'm glad it will never get remade, but you'll never see it aired anywhere either.
Huh?
You'll never see it even aired anywhere, along with, I mean, Christ, TV shows like All in the Family, The Jeffersons. You'll never see anything like that ever again.
History of the World will never get remade.
I will say this. Everything is cyclical. When I say everything, I mean I think everything. If you watch a lot of comedians now, a lot of them are going ahead and going for it. And
I think it's great.
Yep.
You know, I won't use the words here, but like the F word, I've heard that a bit. Not the F word, but the F word, the
Right.
R word.
Right.
You know, you things that we feel like, and once again, these jokes are not meant to hurt people's feelings.
Sure.
Are people's feelings going to get hurt?
Of course.
Yes.
That's a personal thing.
Right.
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 But once again, if you get hurt, move on.
Yeah.
If comedy,
Find a way to be okay with yourself and realize that not everybody feels the same as you, and that unfortunately you're not going to change the world.
And that's the problem. They try to stop everything.
Yeah, most comedy pushes some boundary.
Sure. And it should.
You know,
Yeah.
and it just does.
Right.
And because it may be a little uncomfortable, it makes it funny because one, there's a like disbelief they just said it, but in the back of your mind, they're like, well, that's true. And you laugh about it and you may feel a little bit bad, but it still makes you laugh. And that's comedy pushes boundaries, always has and always will.
Right.
You know, not
Good comedy.
yeah. Well, even
Yeah.
even Jim Gaffigan being probably one of the cleanest comedians out there. I mean, he's even said a few things that pushes boundaries, but I mean, it's not so bad. But I mean, he's pushed a few boundaries. I mean, he does fat jokes.
Right.
You know, so I mean, it's mostly about himself, but he's still, you
This
know.
interview's over with.
I was gonna say that's why PJ and I don't like him.
The one great PJ Starks. I just said fat.
Here's what I'm offended. I'm offended that I can't grow facial hair to cover up my double chin. That's what I noticed about so many men my size. They're able to grow facial hair to cover up their double chin. I can't do it. So I think everyone should shave.
Does my other than ugliness, does this offend thou?
No, you're one of the best Santa Clauses I've ever seen.
Dude, then put me in your next Halloween or your next holiday film. Trust me.
14 sleighs.
I actually do Santa home visits every year.
That's awesome.
That doesn't surprise me.
That's awesome.
Corporate parties, everything, you name it. You know, I never thought I'd grow into it, but I figured if I can't avoid it, might as well embrace it.
Well, that explains the rumors where people are saying you're the Harvey Weinstein of Christmas parties. Now that makes sense.
Oh, that was him they were talking about?
Yes.
Oh, I put a face with the I can put a face with the comments. Oh.
Anyway, back to the news.
Next subject.
Gentlemen, we have a couple minutes left. Unfortunately, I apologize for segueing so far into the censorship part.
Oh no, that's fine.
Yeah, sorry we got serious on you.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't used to that.
Right. Well, no, I'll say real quick. This will be the only thing I say about this. I was basically a victim of it here recently. I posted about a movie I went and saw that had a whole bunch of Sound of Freedom.
Okay.
I didn't know anything about the QAnon or the controversy behind the movie or any of that crap.
Right.
I mean, here's the thing. I like a good conspiracy theory, but I mean, I've got real hobbies and things, so I can't go too far down the rabbit hole. I've got a life to live and bills to pay. So like, I can't sit around and just freak out about that stuff all the time.
Right.
And I saw the movie because I saw the trailer. I thought it looked good. I watched the film and then I posted it out there like I have about hundreds of other movies about how much I enjoyed it. And I recommend going to see it because it is a tough subject matter, but there were parts of it that moved me and this, that, and the other. So go check it out. And like all of a sudden, there was just like all this crazy back and forth. People started private messaging, telling me how it's for spreading QAnon propaganda. And I'm like, so then I have to start like Googling what QAnon is just so I can figure out what the hell they're talking about. And and the crazy thing is, or they're sending me like Rolling Stones articles. And I read the articles just to humor them. And now, having actually seen the movie, none of that stuff is in there.
Right.
So it's like everybody who was offended by the fact I saw this movie and hated the movie did so. Now, there's still going to be some that disagree with this comment, but it's like most of them had not seen the film.
Right. Oh, I guarantee it. Right.
So,
yeah. No,
go see Sound of Freedom.
I That was a huge story on talk radio that I was listening to just yesterday. My wife and I were discussing it last night. It is definitely a heated discussion with that film, but I have heard
Right.
it is a magnificent
Look.
film.
Go see it or don't go see it.
Right. Either way.
You don't want to go see it, don't go see it. But do go see New Fear's Eve.
Yeah, let's go away from out here. Come on, we're running out of time.
So speaking of New Fear's Eve, how long of a film are we looking at?
Probably 3-4 hours.
Okay,
It's
so
gonna
it's,
be,
so it's an Oppenheimer Part 2. Okay,
It is. It's gonna have the intensity of Oppenheimer, but
nice.
the fun of Barbie.
Nice.
I mean, we're gonna try to keep it, in about an hour and a half, if possible.
Okay.
Some things may end up hitting the cutting room floor. Like I said, I haven't started putting the movie together yet, so I don't know what the length is, but
I think it's going to be longer than that.
our previous projects, in some regards, especially Volumes of Blood horror stories, were exercises in indulgence. So we're working on reining ourselves in a bit.
Right.
And that's the problem when you edit your own project. You're really close to everything, so you feel like everything should be there.
Mhm.
I feel like I've gotten better with pulling things out, but it's still that's what we wanted 13 Slaves to be, was about an hour and a half.
Right.
And it ended up being like an hour and 40 minutes. So I mean, this is a slasher comedy.
Right.
It's not trying to push any agendas. It doesn't have any real specific message. There's a lot of very personal things about my life that are in the script and the story and the characters. But as far as like the subject matter and the narrative, it's not anything where it's not real heavy-handed anywhere. I mean, it's just fun. It's blood, gore, and laughs.
So
I
I'm sorry.
was just saying, I figure it's going to be between an hour and a half, an hour and 45 minutes. There's just a lot of footage, and I think I think to make this film be what it needs to be, it's going to be a little longer. It's not going to be a 2-hour movie for sure, but
No.
Well, I mean, without drawing anything out, and making it overkill, I would suggest, or I mean, I would guess that it would better to have it full than cut something short. Correct.
Yeah. Why don't you go make your own movie?
Yeah, I'm trying. With that being said,
when you want me to punch him, just do like this, and then I know.
Just take the Twinkies and run afterwards. That's all I ask. So after editing, once you get the music, the score is in place, you guys have a tentative, hopeful release date.
We don't know. We had one initially, but once things changed a bit for us in the distributor arena, we started getting interest in it that we weren't really prepared for or didn't really see coming. So then our plans kind of went to the wayside, just to kind of see where things could go with the project. We really
have several distributors that are waiting to see the film before they make a decision whether they're going to work with us or want to work with us or not. They've seen the trailer, there's interest, but they aren't going to throw anything at us until they see the full film. One more so really than others right now. Want to talk to us again before the movie's even out. So we'll see. Hopefully, the one of them is going to have the interest that we want and have the contract that we're ready to sign. So it's all going to depend on who that is before we know anything.
Okay. Well, I definitely want to wish you guys the best of luck with the film. I know I'm extremely anxious to see it when it does come out, as always. Please, PJ especially, I know you are a little bit more socially apt, Eric, than you are on social media.
I don't want to be redundant. He tags me everything, and I just feel he's on there every other half hour.
I'm a media whore.
Yeah. It helps nowadays, I tell you. But I definitely want you guys to definitely reach back out to me at any given time, especially once the film is over and done and completed and out there. I would love to talk to you guys afterwards. Boys and girls, New Fear's Eve. Gentlemen, any last words you want to say? Plug anything? Put anything out there?
Go check out our new Indiegogo finishing funds. It's New Fear's Eve Finishing Funds is the name of it.
We got really creative with that one.
There's a really cool T-shirt that wasn't on the original Indiegogo. I showed it to a lot of people. Just, hey, what do you think of this? And everybody's like, oh man, that's really cool.
And little tidbit information: it was designed by Sean Burkett of Don't Fuck in the Woods fame.
Nice. Very nice.
currently stranded, which is like killing it festivals.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's a great design, and so if you want a T-shirt to help and to support the movie, that's go check that out.
Yeah. We also have a whole bunch of random items and stuff from the film, props, wardrobe. That's just collecting dust in storage right now. So anybody who's interested, they can get on there, check it out.
Some of our
and
budget
get their hands
packages
on
are still there. Producer packages are there, so go check it out.
Awesome. Awesome. Gentlemen, boys and girls, PJ Starks, Eric Huskisson.
There you go. Very good.
There you go. There we go. Taking it slowly for you. New Fear's Eve is a film. Definitely get out there, support the film. You can find the Indiegogo information on my Facebook page. Like I said, PJ is definitely the social whore, as he said. He will keep you up
That's
to
what I
date.
thought.
He will keep you up to date on all social outlets and updates on the film. So, gentlemen, best of luck to you. Gentlemen,
you.
Eric, it was nice to finally meet you and talk to you.
A pleasure. Thank you very much. Enjoyed it.
PJ, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Always a pleasure, gentlemen. Boys and girls, this is the witching hour. Keep it evil.
Thank you.